Get 3 months of local news for just 99 cents a month. You'll get unlimited access to the news you need to stay engaged and connected to your community. Visit inforum.com/subscribe now to get 3 months of local news for only 99 cents a month.
A movie star once came to Fargo to live in a department store window. Edna Kirby slept, ate, and entertained in the window while passers-by peeked through the glass. Hi, this is Tracy Briggs, and welcome to Back Then. Well, Edna Kirby just might have been Kim Kardashian before Kim Kardashian was Kim Kardashian. Kirby was a movie actress in the 1920s, but she became more famous for letting people just watch her live her life. Was she really the world's first reality star? Well, maybe, but whatever you call her, we do know for sure that 95 years ago this month, she was delighting the gawkers right here in Fargo-Moorhead. According to her biography on Digital Horizons, Edna Kirby was born Edna Kirby King in Grand Junction, Iowa on February 6, 1892. Steve Silverman, who has written a detailed and fascinating account of Kirby in his podcast, Useless Information, The Glass House Girl, said by the time Kirby was 21, she had married Abe Sampson of Council Bluffs, Iowa. The couple moved to Omaha, Nebraska, but trouble soon followed. They were arrested for receiving stolen merchandise, even though they weren't the ones who actually stole it. Later, Kirby was charged with cutting to wound her husband and a woman with whom he was out joyriding. The couple eventually divorced, and Kirby went to Hollywood to become a star. By the early 1920s, she had built a minor career as a silent movie actress for Paramount, and she appeared in films including That's My Baby, Volcano, and Lady of the Harem. Silverman pointed out that while she had just limited success, she did work with some of the biggest stars of the day, including Harold Lloyd, Betty Compson, Bebe Daniels, Wallace Beery, Maurice Chevalier, Claudette Colbert, Joan Bennett, and Spencer Tracy. But none of this explains how by the end of the decade, she'd be shacked up in a department store window in Fargo, North Dakota. Well, that started with a publicity stunt in Omaha. According to Silverman, management at Omaha's high-end department store, Burgess Nash, came up with the idea to set up a modern home in their department store window. And they wanted to have a movie star bring it to life by using various household products that could then be purchased in the store. While they couldn't afford a big-time movie star, they figured they could afford the semi-successful hometown girl, Edna Kirby, and she could certainly use the career boost. So in the spring of 1922, she moved into the window, and a career was born. Silverman explains Kirby's typical day living in the department store window in Omaha. He said, beginning at 9 each morning, the curtains surrounding Edna's bedroom would be drawn back. She would rise from her bed and then go about her daily routine. She would prepare meals in the apartment's kitchen, do her housework, sew, read, play piano, entertain guests, and then hop back into bed at 9 o'clock for her beauty sleep. Kirby, it seems, had found her niche. She was making money off department stores who encouraged her to live with their products as nosy and impressionable customers on the street outside would literally watch her do it. A 1920s real-life reality show. Of course, the main goal in all of this was not entertainment, but hoping the busybodies outside would be so inclined to come inside the store and buy the products Kirby was using. She took her show on the road and began living in window displays around the nation as the Paramount Girl. In September of 1928, she flew into Fargo with great fanfare. She was greeted by the owners of the Herbst Department Store, who also introduced her to Fargo Mayor J.M. Dahl, who presented her with a huge bouquet of flowers. Herbst, which was located at 16 Broadway, became famous for its department store windows, especially during the Christmas season. But when Kirby visited, the window turned into Apartment Unique, a homey space where Kirby would live for an entire week. In addition to living in the apartment using Herbst home goods, she made appearances at theaters around town wearing clothing, shoes, and accessories from Herbst. Best of all, residents of town would know exactly where she was at any given moment. Herbst ran advertisements in the Fargo Forum detailing her schedule, including things like a 10 a.m. breakfast in bed from the Herbst tea room and giving a presentation in the window at 11:30 on the personality of perfume. By 2 o'clock, passers-by on Broadway could watch her select the perfect gloves and handbags for her afternoon and evening appearances. But here's a question. Did she really live there? Well, the curtains were drawn on the window at 9 o'clock at night, so did she really sleep in that bed? Well, Silverman said that's hard to say. He says, well, she may have slept there. It's more probable that alternative accommodations were provided. Accommodations with running water, an operating toilet, and a hot shower, he said. Whatever the exact requirements of the job, Kirby seemed to embrace it. She continued her career as the Paramount girl, living in her apartment unique in department stores around the country for the next decade. By the 1930s, however, her work slowed down a bit as the Great Depression took hold. Some stores had closed, others just simply couldn't afford to bring her in, and others thought the novelty of the Paramount girl living among them had just worn off. According to Silverman, Kirby took her act to home shows and county fairs, where she was often funded by gas and power companies. She demonstrated appliances in a glass house, which resembled the store windows from her department store heyday, but it never really had the same appeal. Nevertheless, she kept working. Sadly, Edna Kirby died at just 47 due to heart-related problems. She left behind a legacy few have attempted to replicate, living in a glass house, not throwing stones, but showing the world how to pick out just the right handbag. As I said, with this story, I had so much help from that blog by Steve Silverman. It is called Useless Information, The Glass House Girl, Steve Silverman. Google it, and I promise you won't be disappointed. I have just barely touched on what he talks about in this blog. He has done extensive research about this very interesting woman. So again, I would highly encourage you to check that out. It's Useless Information, The Glass House Girl, and it is by Steve Silverman. Just Google that. Thank you for joining me here on Back Then, and I hope you catch me next time.
If you're loving this podcast, be sure to check out our full lineup. From news and local politics to sports and true crime, find your next great listen right now at inforum.com/podcasts. That's inforum.com/podcasts.